Hey yo, what's good, y'all? It's Stinger, and today is the third day of the series of me going over how I do stuff in my beats. And today I'm going to be going over how I arrange my beats. So with that being said, let's just get right to it. All right, so on the back of my statistics homework, I wrote down a couple of arrangement methods that I use. The first one being intro to chorus, to verse, to pre-chorus, to chorus, to outro. Usually I'll use this arrangement if I'm just feeling lazy and I don't want to add a second verse, or I specifically want the beat to be short. The second arrangement method is kind of an extension of the last one, being intro to chorus, to verse, to pre-chorus, to chorus, to verse, to hook, to chorus, to outro. Now, my definition of hook is a lot different than many others, and I don't even think it's the correct definition, but for me, a hook is basically just a different pre-chorus. So it's something that'll lead into the chorus, but introduce a new element to the beat. So for me, a go-to when doing a hook is just to add in a new melodic component, a new drum component, or add in some kind of filter automation. All right, and my third arrangement method is kind of a rearranged version of the last one, being intro to verse, to pre-chorus, to chorus, to verse, to hook, to chorus, to outro. So for this one, instead of starting from intro to chorus, we go intro to verse. So those are the three main methods that I use, but I also have two more alternative methods. The first one being chorus to verse, to pre-chorus, to chorus, to verse, to hook, to chorus, to outro. And this arrangement works best when you're trying to get right to the point with a beat. I always say for beats, the intro should be no longer than 16 bars. And for this one, the intro is 0 bars because it just cuts straight to the point. All right, and the second alternative method that I have starts with chorus to intro to chorus to verse to pre-chorus to chorus to outro. So for this one, I'll start off with a quick 8-bar sneak peek of the chorus, and then I'll have that lead into the intro and then into the actual chorus, and then so on and so forth. Now, having an arrangement pattern is kind of step one when it comes to arrangement, but you also want to know what each portion Jesus. But you also want to know what each portion consists of. So I'll go ahead and break that down right now. All right, so here I have a little example beat that I will be using to demonstrate what goes inside each portion. All right, so for this demonstration, we're just going to use the pattern of intro to chorus, to verse, to pre-chorus, to chorus, to verse, to hook, to chorus, to outro. So let's start with the intro. If I want to be real quick with the intro, I'll usually just introduce 1 or 2 melodic components that last 8 bars, and then I'll introduce the rest of the melodic components in the chorus. Or if I want my intro to be longer, I'll start off with 1 melodic component in the first 8 bars, and then introduce a couple more in the next 8 bars, and then have that lead into the chorus. And then adding in some claps or hats is also optional when it comes to the intro. All right, so I've added these time markers at the top just to make it easier to be certain what we're talking about. So for the chorus, I like to have 2 portions. The first portion will be pretty bare bones. I'll just have 1 or 2 melodic components as well as most of the drums, but if I have a kick, I'll exclude the kick. And then for the second portion of the chorus, we throw in everything. Do not hold anything back in your chorus, because you want your chorus to be the most prominent section of your beat. If someone's listening to your beat and they don't know when the chorus is, it might be because you're holding some sounds back, or you're just not making it super different than the rest of your beat. All right, so now let's move into the verse. Usually I like my verse to be anywhere from 16 to 24 bars long. That way the beat isn't super clustered and it moves along at a timely pace. For this first section of the verse, all I did was copy over this first section of the chorus. And usually what I like to do is I'll cut out the drums in the first portion. That way the listener is certain that they are listening to a transition into a verse. And then after that, I'll introduce a new melodic component, and then sometimes I'll also introduce the kick. And for this last section of the chorus, yet again, we go no holds bars, except we're adding in some variation. And 9 times out of 10, what I do to add variation is I just introduce a new 808 pattern. Now, it doesn't have to be something spectacularly different, but just something noticeably different. That way the listener isn't bored when listening to the beat. Jesus. All right, so now let's go into the pre-chorus. And there are 3 different ways I'll arrange my pre-chorus. First one being like this, where I just play the melody for the whole 8 bars. Second being like this, where I have all the drum patterns except for the hi-hats and the kicks. And the third being like this, where I have all the drum patterns except for the kick and the 808. And usually what I like to do for the pre-chorus is I'll cut out some aspects of the beat before leading into the chorus. Whether that be the drums, the melody, everything all together, I just like to cut something out. That way it's obvious that we're going into the chorus. And with that being said, for the next chorus, all I do is copy over the previous one. For the most part, I won't change anything when it comes to the chorus, because that's the most repetitive part of a song, and I don't want the artist to have to change their chorus every single time it comes around. And now let's go into the next verse, and we're just going to do that by copying over this last one. Now, we're not going to do the same as the chorus. We're going to change some stuff up. And usually I'll keep the arrangement of everything the same, but I'll just extend and or cut out some drum portions to provide some variation. All right, so now let's get into the hook. My go-to method when doing the hook is to have all of your patterns except for the kick kick and hi-hat, and then add in some kind of filter automation. Doing this just provides even more variation for your beat and makes it just that much more listenable. And after the hook, we go into the chorus, and you guessed it, we're just copying that bad boy over. And then after that, we'll go into the outro. For the outro, I have two different methods that I usually use. And the first just being having all of the melodic components play out. And for the second method, what I'll do is I'll copy over the chorus, select the outro, and then create an automation clip for the master volume. And then I'll just have that at a linear slope going downwards. That way it just fades out gradually. And boom, there you have it, a fully constructed beat with zero sound. So that is going to pretty much cover how I arrange my beats. Hopefully you enjoyed the tutorial and learned something new. If you have any questions, please feel free to throw them in the comments down below, and I will do my best to answer them. Also consider subscribing, as I post 4 tutorials every week, 2 long ones and 2 short ones. Other than that, that's going to be it. Peace.